Good afternoon. Watch this video to the end and find out what China has to do with the war between Israel and Hamas. Don't forget to support the development of the channel with a like and share your opinion in the comments. Have an interesting viewing. In June, the president of China, Xi Jinping, welcomed the Palestinian president to Beijing and extended an invitation to the Israeli prime minister for an official state visit. The Israeli prime minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, accepted the invitation, indicating China's growing influence in the region. However, the recent Hamas attack against Israel has cast uncertainty over Netanyahu's planned trip in late October, putting China's Middle East approach to the test. China's declared neutrality in the conflict has upset Israel, but experts believe that China could benefit in the long run by strengthening its ties with Arab nations. Shireen Hong, a professor of international relations at Renmin University of China, stated, "For the time being, China's Middle East policy is paralyzed by the ongoing war. The United States, a strong supporter of Israel, is directly or indirectly involved. Who is there to listen to China?" Nevertheless, China continues to make efforts to be heard. The Chinese Middle East envoy, Zhai Jun, recently engaged in phone conversations with Palestinian and Egyptian officials, urging for an immediate ceasefire and humanitarian aid for the Palestinian people. Zhai also reached out to Israeli officials, emphasizing that China has no selfish interests in the Palestinian issue and has always stood for peace, fairness, and justice. He expressed China's willingness to collaborate with the international community to promote peace and encourage dialogue. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi expressed stronger support for the Palestinians, stating, "The crux of the matter is that justice has not been served to the Palestinian people." During a call with an advisor to the Brazilian president, Wang emphasized that the tragic conflict reaffirms the need to resume genuine peace talks promptly and fulfill the legitimate rights of the Palestinian nation. China has been a long-standing advocate for a two-state solution that would allow for the establishment of an independent Palestinian state. Recently, Secretary of State Antony Blinken reached out to Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi while on his visit to the Middle East, urging China to use its influence in the region to prevent other countries and groups from getting involved in the conflict and escalating tensions. The response from Wang was not characterized by the State Department. China's close trade and political ties with Iran, a supporter of Hamas and Lebanon's Hezbollah, have been noted. This conversation marked the first high-level contact between the United States and China regarding the situation in the Middle East since the Hamas attack. In an attempt to maintain a delicate balance, Beijing aims to position itself as a mediator and exert influence in the region. Experts Maria Papageorgiou, a lecturer in politics and international relations at the University of Exeter, and Mohammed Islami, a researcher at the University Menu, believe that the U.S. support for Israel will give China an opportunity to expand its arms sales to dissatisfied Arab countries, but China also wants to resolve the crisis to protect its economic interests in the region. Papageorgiou and Islami argue that China's engagement in the Middle East will increase during this conflict. Beijing intends to play an active role in ending the war, securing its economic interests, and capitalizing on the frustration of Arab states with the United States. This approach, however, runs the risk of alienating Israel. Tuvia Gehring, a fellow at the Israel-China Policy Center, expressed concern over Beijing's stance, calling it pro-Palestinian neutrality, similar to its stance on the introduction of Russian troops into Ukraine, which signaled support for the Kremlin. Gehring believes that remaining silent in such a situation is equivalent to acquiescence. He further suggests that instead of being a responsible major power, China seems to be exploiting the conflict for geopolitical gains. According to Gehring, China is seeking support from Arab countries on contentious issues such as its treatment of the Muslim ethnic Uyghurs in the Xinjiang region. This highlights China's broader geopolitical objectives in the Middle East. China, under the leadership of President Xi, has pursued an active and sometimes assertive foreign policy. The country has prioritized building closer ties with the Middle East, a region that supplies a significant portion of the oil China needs. Additionally, China sees the Middle East as a crucial nexus in its Belt and Road Initiative, a massive infrastructure project aimed at connecting markets worldwide through various transportation networks. In recent times, Beijing has played a role in restoring diplomatic relations between Saudi Arabia and Iran, positioning itself as an alternative mediator to the United States in brokering peace deals. Wang Yue, an international relations professor at Renmin University, believes that China is better positioned than the U.S. to help resolve conflicts, including those between Saudi Arabia and Iran, Russia and Ukraine, or Israel and the Palestinians. Wang argues that being a successful mediator requires avoiding taking sides and being hated by one party. China's approach aims to bridge differences rather than imposing sanctions or containment measures, such as those applied to Russia during the conflict with Ukraine. However, China's proposals to end conflicts have been criticized for favoring Russia's interests. In the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, Dale Aluf, a research director at the Sino-Israel Global Network and academic leadership, suggests that China's stance may be more about projecting an image of neutrality and global responsibility rather than truly acting as one. China's continued support for a two-state solution in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict has been seen as disconnected from the reality on the ground, according to Aluf. Furthermore, China's refusal to join the U.S. and other countries in designating Hamas as a terrorist organization has disappointed Israel, as China sees Hamas as a Palestinian resistance movement. Throughout the ongoing conflict, Chinese state media has been critical of Israel, citing Iranian news outlets to report alleged illegal use of white phosphorus bombs by the Israeli military. Additionally, Chinese state media has blamed the U.S., Israel's staunchest supporter, for exacerbating tensions in the region. The Israeli mission in Beijing has been inundated with hostile messages, leading them to filter comments on their Chinese social media accounts. Furthermore, there has been a rise in anti-Semitic sentiment on Chinese internet platforms, as noted by Yaqiu Wang, research director for China, Hong Kong, and Taiwan at Freedom House. Wang argues that the Chinese government has consistently propagated a narrative that places the blame squarely on Israel, a key U.S. ally. This aligns with the ruling Communist Party's objective of undermining the U.S.'s position in the international community, and the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is no exception to this approach. That's all for now. Subscribe to the channel to not miss new episodes and give this video a like if you liked it. See you soon.